1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
He can give this whole argument to you. You can literally sit in front of him and demonstrate to his face in front of everyone that he is making it up and lying, but he will go on to the next debate and repeat the very same thing again as if the conversation never took place.
And guys, I mean, serious question for you Muslims out there. When you're Dawa guys, I've said this before, I've been to prison. I've never in my life encountered people, especially an entire group of people, where lying is so normal, so completely normal and acceptable. So your Dawa guys are the biggest bunch of liars I've ever seen. No one in prison I've ever met can compete with these guys as far as just freely lying as much as they want. And then you guys, as the followers of Dawa, you all rally around them, and they can be your Dawa guy can be exposed 10,000 times as a liar. It will never cross your mind not to completely trust him. And so if this is what we see that your religion produces, it produces a bunch of liars and a community that loves the lies, that community that loves being lied to and therefore never holds the liars accountable for lying. How are we supposed to look at that and say, this is obviously what the religion of truth produces? This is what the true religion produces. It produces a love. It seems demonic, guys. It seems completely, utterly, totally demonic in nature.
Well, this is obviously what the religion of truth produces. So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Liar! You're a liar!
You're
a liar!
You know it's true because it produces nothing but lies. That's what the truth is.
Augustine himself was set to marry a 10-year-old when he was 31 before he became a priest. Thomas Aquinas says that sex depends on maturity, which he says happens at 12 years old for girls. And he says it can even happen earlier for some girls.
There's a very funny section about this, Aquinas, where Daniel repeatedly tells Jay about the whole Aquinas source and says, do you agree with this? And Jay's like, no, I have no problem condemning it. And then Daniel's like, you see, Jay failed to condemn this statement by Thomas Aquinas. And he's like, I literally did say that I have no problem condemning it. I don't have any allegiance to that. And he's like, and you see, once again, Jay fails to condemn it. But we'll watch it tomorrow. I just want to get to one part here.
Catholic Encyclopedia also notes that Mary was betrothed to Joseph when she was just a 12-year-old little girl. And in
liar. And look, you have Ijaz there going, How many times have we refuted this? We'll actually pull up tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow on this very channel. Oh, you're going to bring it up right now?
Right now. Here's the text of the Catholic Encyclopedia. And what it says about the marriage. Here it is. So Daniel just claimed once again, and I'm bringing this up just because it is such a clear example of what a liar Daniel Haqiqatjou is. He brought this up in the debate with IP. IP refuted it already directly in his face. It was brought up again by him later on. Responses that were made to him, which he saw by his own admission, included thorough refutations where we demonstrated again and again that this is a lie, were brought. He still ignores it and once again repeats the very, very same lie here. But here, this is what the Catholic Encyclopedia actually says. It will not be without interest to recall here, unreliable though they are,
that's what
the lengthy stories concerning Saint Joseph's marriage contained in the apocryphal writings. When 40 years of age, Joseph married a woman called Melka or Esha by some, Salome by others. They lived 49 years together and had 6 children, 2 daughters and 4 sons. A year after his wife's death, as the priests announced through Judea that they wished to find in the tribe of Judah a respectable man to espouse Mary, then 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Then
even according to the story, that's when they're looking for a respectable man. Mary, then 12 to 14, 12 to 14, when they're looking for someone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's according to sources that they say are unreliable. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So it clearly says that these stories are unreliable. This is what the Catholic Encyclopedia says. Then says Mary, then 12 to 14 years of age. Daniel just said that the Catholic Encyclopedia says she was 12.
Yeah. So the point is, even if you ignored them saying what comes before it, unreliable, and even if you ignore what comes after it, because they're going to say that these dreams, it's 12 to 14 when they're looking for a respectable man. Right? So let's keep going. Keep going.
Joseph, who was at the time 90 years old, went up to Jerusalem among the candidates. A miracle manifested the choice God had made of Joseph. And 2 years later...
Wait. 2 years later, so she's 12 to 14 in these unreliable stories that the Catholic Encyclopedia says are unreliable, right? So she's 12 to 14 when they're looking for someone. And then 2 years later, the Annunciation. So that's, hey, you're going to have a child. So guess what? So then she's 14 to 16 during the Annunciation, and then 9 months later, she would be 15 to 17, according to these stories that they're saying are unreliable. 15 to 17. No, she's 12. She's 12. You see, and the Catholic Encyclopedia says it. Go ahead, keep reading.
We are reading directly the Catholic Encyclopedia, and he is clearly lying about it. This
does not care and doesn't bother his fans. That's the insane part.
No doubt, this is a clear lie.
Indisputable lie, guys, and keep in mind, lie that he's been repeatedly exposed on, and he has shown that he just does not care. You could say this to him in a debate, and he will just go on to the next debate and say the Catholic Encyclopedia says Mary was 12 when Joseph banged her, something along those lines.
These dreams, as Saint Jerome styles them, from which many a Christian artist has drawn his inspiration, see, for instance, Raphael's espousals of the Virgin, are void of authority.
Void of authority. These dreams are void of authority.
Void of authority. They nevertheless acquired in the course of ages some popularity. In them, some ecclesiastical writers sought the answer to the well-known difficulty arising from the mention in the gospel of the Lord's brothers. From them also popular credulity has, contrary to all probability, as well as to the tradition witnessed by old works of art, retained the belief that Saint Joseph was an old man at the time of marriage with the Mother of God.
So guys, here you have it. Unreliable dreams, void. They're void of authority. But in these sources, Mary would have had Jesus somewhere between the ages of 15 and 17.
Yeah,
and we don't even know that. Go to a Dawa guy, have him read this exact same passage. Say, what is this saying? It's saying that Mary was with Joseph when she was 12 and she had Jesus. That's what they're going to say. And this is the amazing part is not just that these guys will lie, and it doesn't matter how many times you expose them, they'll just keep lying. It's not just that their followers will mindlessly agree with them. It's that their followers seem so insanely dumb. I guarantee you, if you just went through that with them, they would not understand anything you're saying. It's like they're too dumb to understand responses.
Apparently, it is so difficult to read here. So difficult to read this small text.
I guarantee you, if a Haqiqatjou fan, he will just know what that said. She was 12. Look, I saw the number 12 in there. I saw the number 12. It said, oh, look, it's a 12. It's a 12. Look, it's a 12. It went on the screen. The Catholic, and it said she 12. It said she 12. My
on top of that, not that it's necessary.
Makes you dumber, ladies and gentlemen.
Not that it is necessary. Not that it is even really relevant, but if you're going to cite the Catholic Encyclopedia, you should probably also think about the fact that Catholics believe that Mary was perpetually a virgin.
Yeah, never had sex. And if you go with these stories, the point of making up, because they say this is just made up. There's no reason to think that Joseph was really this old man. The point of even making up the stories was that you eventually had people who were saying, wait a minute, we understand, like, Mary being a virgin at the beginning, but why wouldn't Joseph have ever consummated the marriage after that? Why? And so they eventually came up with some stories about, well, Joseph was a really old man and they were just looking for someone to take care of Mary like a daughter. And so, and so that's what happened. Okay. So there's never any, so according to the sources that you're saying the Catholic Encyclopedia affirms, which it doesn't, but if we were to just ignore everything else you're saying, there was never any sex, according to the stories. Never. Sex never happened. And he was taking care of her as like a stepfather.
I was really impressed with one thing and really surprised by one thing, which is that Sam Shamoun, who is not always very fond of rabbinic Judaism, for example, in the debate, actually, in response to Daniel making accusations about the Torah and Jewish practices and Christian practices, Sam Shamoun actually busted him on, instead of quoting the Torah, actually quoting the Talmud and then misquoting it, and accusing them of also practicing minor marriage, when in fact the Talmud explicitly forbids the marriage of minors to older men and explicitly sets recommended minimum ages, even so long ago, long before the arrival of Islam. I was very impressed with that.
Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform